Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this new video podcast of Global Fleet. Today we are traveling to Canada. As my guest today is Wayne Rose. He is the Senior Vice President Sales Fleet Services at Jim Pattison Lease. And Jim Pattison Lease is one of the most important fleet management and leasing companies in Canada. Wayne, welcome. Welcome to this video podcast. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing very well. Yourself?
I'm doing very well. It's nice to meet. Where are you based in Canada?
I'm based out of Toronto, Canada.
And Jim Pattison Lease is a Canadian fleet management company with only activities in Canada or in the whole of North America?
We are Canadian based. Actually, our head office is out of Burnaby. That's in Vancouver, British Columbia. But we currently do have 2 offices in the United States. We have 10 offices in Canada, plus the 2 in the US, which is relatively new for us. It's our first foray into the US market. And we've been around since 1961, so we're actually celebrating our 60th anniversary in the fleet management business.
Okay, congratulations. We are going to talk about the Canadian fleet market, of course. Can you first picture the Canadian fleet market? How big is the Canadian fleet market today?
Well, if you don't mind, I took some numbers down that have been provided by one of our manufacturers. They're based on registrations. And if you look at the total Canadian market for calendar year to date as of the end of June 2021 this year, it's a little over 889,000 units, broken down between cars, 183,000, and trucks, 705,000. Fleet, I know that was something you were interested in, makes up about 150,000 of these vehicles, again, broken down. Car, 27,500, truck, a little over 122, almost 123,000 vehicles.
Okay, we have had the first 6 months of 2021. Of course, 2020 was a very strange and difficult year for everybody. We know the reason. If you look at the first 6 months of 2021 for the Canadian fleet market, was it a good half year? What can you tell about the growth?
Well, I can tell you, and 2020 wasn't a very good year to benchmark, obviously, because of COVID. But the total market is up 134% versus 2020, slightly behind 2019. And if we focus on fleet, which is our world, fleet is up 128% over 2020, but significantly down versus 2019 model year.
And what is your impression? What is your prognosis for the rest of the year?
We're looking at, we got economic conditions for the automotive sales remain strong as customer demand and economic outlook and reopening of businesses are providing stimulus. There's increased vaccination levels are also providing optimism. However, there is a definite risk to the downside should conditions worsen or the manufacturer's issues continue. That is the semiconductor or microchip shortage. Obviously, here in Canada, and I know in anywhere in North America, I'm sure everywhere, there's a shortage of vehicles on dealers' lots, resulting in markups approaching retail, if not retail, something that has never been seen. And I've been in the business for 42 years. So we've been strongly encouraging our customers to factory order vehicles, as lead times are anywhere from 6 to 9 months. And there's also a concern about early build-outs on the most popular 2022 fleet vehicles.
Okay. Of course, when we talk about Canada, then we often compare it to the United States. But I can imagine the markets are not one-on-one comparable. What are the differences between the Canadian fleet marketplace and the US fleet market?
Well, I think we would all think that Canada, US is the same, and in many ways it is, but in fleet or in vehicles, there are some dramatic differences, and I've taken some time to list a few down. I mean, you look at things like vehicle specifications are not identical between the 2 countries. Packages can be different, contenting can be different. Pricing is clearly different, and don't forget you've got the exchange rate between the to countries, and that is fairly significant. On there, concessions can be different. How vehicles are ordered and delivered are different. You're looking at, again, I talk about currency, you're talking about the metrics versus imperial systems, so miles versus liters versus gallons, those type of things to take into consideration. There's different funding, there's different pricing, and a big thing, there's a whole bunch of different regulatory issues. There's privacy concerns, and a big thing, there are some language differences.
Okay, so it would be stupid for a global fleet manager to imagine that he or she can apply a one-size-fits-all approach for North America, for the US, and for Canada.
Yeah, I don't think it works for anywhere in the world, actually. Every country has its specific requirements, and they need to be looked at on an individual basis.
Okay. One particular topic that fleet managers today, not only in Europe, but what we are seeing is across different regions, are interested in is fleet electrification. What can you tell about the green wave in Canada?
So everybody's talking about EV, about electric vehicles right now. I kind of equate it to telematics about 10 years ago, where everybody was talking about telematics and it was new and we want it, but we kind of don't know what to do with it. And then when we get it, it wasn't always utilized correctly on there. But in the EV world, we're clearly going there. It's still a very small percentage of all purchases, but there are some government mandates in anywhere in North America, throughout the world, by certain times, 2030, 2035, where X number of vehicles, if not all vehicles sold, need to be electric. Those type of things. The manufacturers are clearly spending very, very large amounts of money in trying to get there. In the fleet world, we're getting a lot of questions from a lot of people who want to do the right things. Some of them have just been mandated to get a vehicle, so they're just testing the market. But in our world, we are looking for pickup trucks, we're looking for vans. Mm-hmm. And so in our world, the work vehicle that we need, regardless of which manufacturer we're talking about, is really not available until, in Canada anyways, it's a little different in the US market, really not available until 2023, 2024, 2025. So those vehicles aren't there today. You've got the large discrepancy in price. Battery ranges are still questions. Mm-hmm. The infrastructure in North America is not in place. Mm-hmm. The grid could not manage if somebody flipped a switch tomorrow and everybody went electric. It just wouldn't happen. All the lights would probably go out. So things will happen as they go. Manufacturers will build the vehicles and the infrastructure will get put in place, but it's going to take time. It's clearly coming. Electric for the light duty vehicles, and it appears to be hydrogen because of the size of the battery for the larger vehicles. So a lot of talk, but not a tremendous amount of activity. I mean, if you look at numbers, I don't have them in front of me, they're increasing all the time, but they're still a very small percentage of the overall market.
Okay, Wayne Rose, thank you very much. Thank you for the discussion. To the audience, if you like this video podcast, share it with your colleagues. And of course, we hope to see you for our next episode of a Global Fleet podcast. And don't forget that you can find other interesting content on our Global Fleet website. Thank you and bye-bye.
Thank you.